Welcome back, everyone. For those of you who have been watching the channel for a while, you know that I've got a few different interests. Quite a few, actually, now that I think about it. But definitely revolving around camping. And over the course of the last several years, I've tried to figure out how I can make camping a little more enjoyable, a little bit less work. So yes, this bus conversion that you see to my left is going to be switching over to more of a glamping style setup, but I want to be able to do so well off-grid. So trying to figure out ways to maintain my resources and maximize their efficacy as much as I can. So that comes down to water. Now I have plans in place for how to come up with extra water supply, and I'll show you those as I start putting them in the bus. But for now, this one is a startup company that I purchased into probably a couple of years ago, and the device just arrived. So this is a countertop dishwasher. Now I know that sounds like it doesn't really belong in an RV, especially an RV that's designed to go off-grid, but you know what? There are some benefits to this setup. So this is Capsule. What company made this? It looks like it's made by Loc Electronics. I don't know if you can see that down there. But I have not opened this yet, so we'll do an unboxing today and see what it looks like and see if I can run a test on it, see how well it works. The idea behind this and the whole purpose behind buying it in the first place was this is supposed to use somewhere in the neighborhood of 1 quart of water for a load of dishes, and this is sized to where a load of dishes is about 1 day. Now the reason I did this, if you're washing by hand, the washing process doesn't take all that much water, it really doesn't. But the rinsing process definitely could, depending on what your dishes are like and what you're talking about as far as mess and soap to clean up. So I wanted to make sure that I wasn't wasting a whole bunch of water in the washing process. And if I can run 1 load of dishes each day or every other day, depending on how it goes, then I might be able to save a lot of water in the process. I also like cooking and baking, and I want to prep the bus to be able to do that. So pizzas, bread, pastries, pies. Now, I love doing those kinds of things, and I figure why not take it with me? So again, I don't want to spend all my time working on things that I don't really enjoy as much. So here we go. We're going to unbox this and see what we get. So their packing material is definitely good. I heard some stories that maybe the first few weren't packed so well, but this one is showing no signs of damage whatsoever. So congratulations, you all, you did a great job on that. There we go. Okay, inside, there we are. Let me drop this down so I can show you what's going on here. Okay, there we are. Okay, so our power cord is a standard 20 amp 120 volt connected to the back here. So this will run just fine off my regular generator. Down here to the side we've got our drain and our water inlet. Let's see what's inside here. Okay. Yep, they did a great job packaging this. Some hose clamps, suction cup, and your instruction manual. Here we've got a little container. one of the hoses. There's the other hose. And another. Okay. Okay, so what we have so far, this is your drain line. Actually, sorry, this is your supply line. If you're going to be using the container, the water container that came with it, then this goes from that container to the supply on the back here. The larger one here is your drain line. This can drain directly into the sink. Looks like we have a smaller version of that. Then I also purchased this. This is an extra line that's designed to connect water supply directly from plumbing. So if you have a valve of some type that you can connect to, you can run directly from this. I wasn't sure quite yet which one I wanted to use, so I decided to go both ways. They do sell not only a supply tank, but also a drain tank. And I'm pretty sure I bought both. Okay. I also want to comment at this time that I am not endorsed by this company in any way. I'm not receiving any kind of funding for this. I did pay full price for this product. Okay. This looks like... my guess would be this is probably the drain tank. Although... yeah, pretty sure it's the drain tank. So you've got an inlet here and what appears to be a vent over here. Let's see if I'm wrong. Ah, okay. They're the same tank. Perfect. So it looks like they can serve both purposes. So I have two of these. So I can use one as a supply, one as a drain if I choose. Looks like it uses a little more than a quart though, doesn't it? Okay. So let me bring you around the back here and show you what hookup looks like. So back in the back here, you've got 3 connections plus the power cord. So here's your water supply coming in if you're going to be using one of the tanks. So we take this, which has the same kind of connector on both sides. We just connect one side to here. There we go. And we connect the other side to the supply tank over here. So that's what the small port on here is for. There we go. So that gives you the ability to have water supply coming in. It must be able to draw a suction just from the pump that's in the unit. If, on the other hand, you were going to use plumbing, then you would just take this line, take the cap off of here, and connect to that in place of this one. Okay. I also figured out why you've got 2 different drain hoses. So this one is shorter than the other. I guess they assume that the longer one might be necessary to get you to the sink, whereas if you're going to use the second tank, then the flexible fitting here is the one that goes on the unit, right up here on the top. Then we take this one and just stick it down in there. Now looking at that, it looks like it's solid enough. I guess it'll be interesting to find out if there's any issue with that. We do have some hose clamps. Or at least there's one clamp in here, and it looks like it's the type that's designed to go on the drain fitting. So I'll have to take a look at that and see if I can put that on there. I do not see a hose clamp for the water supply, which makes sense considering the fact that it's probably drawing a vacuum, so it probably doesn't require anything like that. So, with this setup, I should be able to put fresh water in the tank to the left, run a cycle, and drain it into the tank to the right. So what I'm going to do is set this up in the bus for a second. We'll plug it into the extension cord. I've got a meter to tell me how much power it's drawing, and we'll run a cycle and see what it looks like. Well, let's give this a try, shall we? So, I've got it set up in its fully mobile mode. So over on this side I've got a nearly full container of water. It holds actually about a gallon. So I guess we'll see how much of it uses for a standard cycle. So that's connected into the suction port on the back. Then over here I've got a secondary tank connected to the drain line, and it has its hose clamp back here holding it on. So they do recommend when you're using this setup to run that line mostly vertical, that drain line. I'm not entirely sure why that is, but I guess we'll find out. So this has a lot of different features on it up front here. See if you can see these. There we go. So what we have our standard wash over here on this side. We have Eco Wash, which is a much shorter cycle. That's designed really for things that are primarily clean. Uses a lot less power and water per the company. Over here we have fruit cleaning. I'm pretty sure that that may rinse, but I think for the most part it's a UV cleaning cycle. And then over here we have strictly UV. That one is for devices, so you can actually put your mobile phone or other things in here and run a UV cleaning cycle on it. So let's see what we have. So the way you operate this, let's turn this off. There we go. Okay, so your power button's down here in the lower left. This is your start and stop button here. This is your plus and minus for controlling how much time is involved with each thing. And then up here, these are all buttons you can press to choose your cycle type. So we're going to turn it on. There we go, booting up. So it defaults this time to 2 1/4. So what I'm going to do is change it to a standard wash cycle. Defaults to 1.5 hours. Now they say for a standard meal all you need is 15 minutes. There we go. So we'll set it at 15 and we'll hit start. Sounds like the pump's running. There we go. Drawing water off the supply tank. So I'm not doing a full wash here. I don't have any dishes in there, and I don't have any detergent in there. Drawing down to about half a tank. Not bad. It's not very loud. It does have a silent mode. I'm not entirely sure if that makes the spraying any less, but I'm guessing there must be some indicators on it for when it reaches the end of a cycle. When you set this up, it's going to determine what its water source is. So up here you have these indicators. So the lower left here, you can just barely see the light on behind, and I think that's only true because the sun in here. But this one indicates that I'm drawing off of one of the storage tanks. This one over here would light up if I was connected with the other hose to actual plumbing. This one up here is supposed to be a child lock. I'm not sure if you can actually push that button or how that works out. And I know it looks like the lighting on the numbers is cycling, but it's not. That's just the video showing it that way. It is constant. Okay, we're about 5 minutes into the cycle and we're draining. Put out only a small amount of water so far. And we're drawing down some more fresh. Apparently, if you're drawing off of this system and it gets too low, it will let you know that you need to add some more water. I guess we'll find out. I didn't fully fill the container just because I knew this wasn't sitting perfectly flat. Okay. My guess would be we're in a rinse cycle now. We're 11 minutes in. Still have some water left in the tank. I'd say if this is a 1 gallon tank, which I'm pretty sure it is, that should be about a quart left. So I guess we'll see if this is the rinse cycle or if it's going to draw any more. My guess would be the longer cycles probably just run more repetition. I'll have to run an 1.5-hour cycle at some point and see what it does. If it uses the same amount of water, or if it just runs for a longer time frame on each setting. There we go. 1 minute left and we're draining. The water is warm over here, and it was cold when I put it in, so there is a heater in here. Oh, that's interesting. That's very interesting. You notice we're a little bit below half over here. And on this side, we still have a little bit of water left, but I'm pretty sure if you add those two together, it does not add up to the amount of water I put in. So, let's open it up and see what we have in here. Definite steam. Okay, so it definitely gets hot in there. We've got some leftover water in here, but really not much. It's very minimal. Okay. Not bad. Not bad at all. I think I might leave that open to let it finish draining, but let's find out how much water we lost overall. So what I'm going to start with, close this up for a moment. Let's take the dump tank here and just kind of hold it down low. Okay, we had a little bit of leftover water in the line. There we go. So what we have here is about half. About half. So what I'm going to do is turn this. There we go. And we should be able to pop that right out of there. There we are. Okay, do the same thing on this one. And I'm just going to dump this into the tank that I took it out of. Okay, so I lost a little bit with my overspray there, but that's okay. So there is a little bit of water still left in this tank, so I would say if you're going to drain into the tank, you may need to have a sink that you can then rinse this out with after you're doing some washing with actual dishes. And then obviously over here, if we look at this, we're sitting just above the logo. So between the extra that I spilled here, a little bit that's left here inside the unit, and the steam, we lost a little under a quart, I would say. So if you're using something along the lines of a gray water recirculating system, I know there are some units out there that have that as far as flushing your toilet with it. You'll have some ability to use some of this water. Obviously you're going to lose a little bit of volume with the process of heating and everything else that goes on with the dishwasher. But I would say overall, it definitely runs a cycle. That's good. The biggest thing I want to find out next is how does it do with dishes. I also want to get it plugged into a power meter so I can get an idea of how much electricity is it really using to run this cycle. Let's see. Yeah, closes up nicely. So I think for RV use, this isn't a bad option. From what I can tell so far, it looks to me, since the door opens at a higher point, I should be able to put a security strap across the bottom of the unit here. Make sure you can see what I'm pointing at. There we go. Somewhere across down here just to hold it in. So I'll set it down a little bit. And if I look around the back, my lowest plumbing point in here does give me some space in the back to have a little bit of angle iron or something tucked up behind it to help hold it in place. So I should be able to create a cabinet for this. I'll have to take a look and see where the steam comes out. I'm pretty sure it's coming out up here at the door. I don't see any other vents on the unit. Nope, I don't get any evidence that anything came out the back here, so that's perfect for reseating this into the cabinetry. If this is the only place that potentially dumps steam, then all I need to make sure is I leave the front exposed so that steam can get up and doesn't get caught in the system. But so far, I would say it looks good. So I'll come back with a future video and show you what it looks like actually doing some cleaning and let you know what kind of power draw we're talking about here for anyone who might be interested in putting something like this in an RV or some place where you have limited power. But so far, I like it. So thank you for coming by for this video, and we'll see you next time. See you over the next horizon.